Hello, and welcome to day one of Cyclical Awakening. I am Megan Noreen from Divine Flow, and I am excited to begin this journey through the cycles of the womb, earth, and moon. So, what is cyclical living? There is a blueprint that flows through the cosmos, and that same blueprint weaves together this earth and is the foundation for your body's cyclical nature. The very makeup of all matter, the atoms, have no beginning or end. They have a continuous life, death, rebirth cycle. And these atoms are what make up our body and our entire universe. Therefore, we also follow this life, death, rebirth cycle. This is the composition of the earth, from the plants to the animals, to you and to me. The other cycles that we experience are the earth orbiting around the sun, 365 days within the year. And this creates the seasons that we experience. The earth also rotates on its axis every 24 hours, creating day and night. The moon rotates around the earth in approximately 27.3 day cycles, creating the new moon to the full moon, back again to the new moon. And our own hormones within our bodies cycle through 21 to 35 days if we have a normal cycle, and shorter or longer if we are experiencing imbalance within our hormones. Cyclical living is then becoming conscious of these cycles in our lives and finding our alignment with them to live sustainably. We can choose to do that through just our body, just through our womb cycles, becoming conscious of that. Or we can also expand it to becoming conscious of the cycles of the moon and how it interacts with our womb, and the seasons and cycles of the earth and how that interacts with the moon and the womb, creating a holistic sense of cyclical living. But why is this so important? I mean, do we really need to be following the cycles in our womb or observing it within the moon or the earth? Well, in our modern day society that we currently live in, this cyclical living is an act of revolution. It is against the norm, what we are expected to do. Kyriarchy. This may be a new word for some of you, and it is just explaining the social systems that exist and thrive on oppression, on domination, on violence. These are the systems of patriarchy, capitalism, colonialism, any system that tries to dominate and brings violence and oppression to the people. So in our society today, that is currently what is the norm. That is what is known. And these frameworks are built on linear worldviews that say that there is a beginning and an end, and that one must always be striving for growth and progress. And they believe that this is the only way to survive, because if you stop, then you are not moving towards something. Whereas we know in a cyclical worldview, there is a time for death. There is a time for release and letting go, because the cycle always comes back around again in a new form of growth. And that growth cannot come without the death happening first. So when we choose this cyclical living, we are choosing to honor the rhythms of our bodies, the earth, and the moon, and work with them instead of against them. We are honoring that natural rhythm that makes up all of the atoms in the universe and the cosmos, and seeing it how it is beautifully reflected in our own bodies. I believe that cyclical living is the only way to not only survive, but to thrive. And it's not only for our own personal existence, while that is a beautiful and wonderful intention to have, but that also by living cyclically, we are transforming our relationships with the earth and with all other living beings. And that is something that our modern day society is yearning for, this revolution into community and relationship, that we can be connected and transform the way that we know how to live. So let's begin from starting from a personal perspective, and then we will flow outward into how it relates to the earth and to others. We begin by learning about our own bodily cyclical nature found in our womb cycle. Here you'll see a diagram explaining the 4 inner seasons that flow through a womb cycle. You will see on the top right hand is the inner winter. This is our menstrual phase. This is the time of bleeding. And we will see that it approximately happens between day 27 and day 5 of the cycle if you are experiencing a 28-day cycle. If you have a longer cycle, it would be the 1 or 2 days before you begin bleeding, and then for however long you bleed, up to day 5, day 7, whatever your bleed experience is. And this inner winter is that time of death. It is that time that we lay the soil to rest, for that we know that something new is to be planted and grown in the next season, which is the inner spring. The inner spring is the pre-ovulation phase, the follicular phase. And this is approximately from day 6 to 12 in a 28-day cycle. And this is known as the time of growth. The little seedlings are sprouting and beginning to show themselves above ground. Moving into the full blossom of the inner summer. This is the time of ovulation, and the inner summer approximately happens between day 13 to 18 in a 28-day cycle. That is the height of our womb cycle, and this is the main event. And after ovulation has occurred, we then move into the season of the inner autumn, approximately day 19 to 26, and this is the premenstrual phase. This is the time of letting the leaves fall and releasing and allowing it to begin composting for the new cycle and renewal to happen in the next womb cycle. Now, I can't stress this enough that each and every individual cycle is unique, and it is unique to you and only you. You may experience a very short inner summer and a really long spring. If you don't ovulate, you may not experience summer or autumn and just have winter and spring as your cycle. And you may experience a 40-day long cycle or a 21-day long cycle. And that is unique to you. So this is a general overview, but what we are really searching for is to understand our own unique womb cycles. And we do this through learning how to track and journal our cycles. So I will ask you to commit yourself to this practice, and at least for 3 full cycles if you are able to. And we start by grabbing a journal or a chart and begin with day 1. Day 1 is the first day of the full blood flow. So you may experience spotting a day or two beforehand, and day 1 is not until you experience that bright red blood that is fully flowing. So in your journal or on your chart, you just write the date, then write day 1 at the top. And then I suggest looking at these 4 different aspects of your day and asking these questions. Physically, how does your body feel today? Are you experiencing any physical symptoms? Mentally, what does your mental health look like? Were you focused, scattered? Are there any signs of depression, anxiety, or mental stress? Emotionally, what was your emotional state today? Is there a feeling word that can describe how you were feeling today? And then spiritually, did you feel connected to yourself today? Did you feel connected to the earth, to the universe, to something greater than yourself? Now, I usually do my journaling at the end of the day and reflect back on how I experienced my whole day. I know others that do their journaling in the morning and how they were feeling in the morning. So whatever works best for you, and it can be as simple as writing 4 words down. Physically, how you felt, 1 word. Mentally, 1 word. Emotionally, 1 word. Spiritually, 1 word. And it can be as simple as that. It can take 2 minutes, or you can expand it to add as much as you want. And here are some suggestions if you want to add more things into your tracking and journaling. You can use a bullet journal, which you can see the picture on the bottom right is a picture of my bullet journal that I use. I use it to track my physical symptoms, my spiritual practices, the food that I eat throughout my cycle, my sleep that I have, and all of those things I then reflect back at the end of my cycle to see overall how was my health throughout this cycle. And so you can see it can be as elaborate as you want to or as simple as you need it to be. And there is no pressure at all, but I do ask to know and to see your own cyclical pattern. It is best to commit to at least doing this journaling practice for 3 cycles, 3 full cycles, to start to see your patterns that you experience. And you will start to see patterns and learn about the days of your cycle and which ones are the most triggering for you. For example, I know that day 25 and day 4 are usually my most triggering days. So I make sure to give myself a lot of space on those days so that I am able to be more resilient and loving towards myself and extra self-care for myself. And I also know that day 3 is my most favorite day and the day I feel most connected to myself and in alignment with my visions and my dreams and my goals. And we will only learn about our own unique womb cycle by asking the questions and becoming aware and observing what our own unique experience is. And this is an invitation for you to turn inwards into your own cycle and learn about your own unique cycle that only you can know.